Have you ever set a big, exciting goal? You know, like writing a book, finally getting in shape, or learning a new skill. You get that initial rush of motivation, and then crickets. Days, weeks, maybe even months go by, and you are just stuck, completely unable to start. Well, you're not alone, and I want to be crystal clear about something. It is not your fault. Today, we're going to break down the exact science of why this happens, and more importantly, we're going to give you one simple, non-negotiable rule to beat it for good. Okay, let's get into it. The reason you're stuck in procrastination isn't that the goal is too hard, it's that the first step is too big. We're always told to just rely on willpower, right? To just grit our teeth and push through these huge efforts. But honestly, that's like trying to start a car with a dead battery. It just doesn't work. We're about to show you the single, counterintuitive rule that guarantees you can start any new habit in the next 120 seconds. This isn't about finding more motivation. It's not about manufacturing more discipline. This is a system. It's a neurological hack that's going to fundamentally change how you think about starting anything. And right here, this is the core paradox we're going to unpack. It sounds completely backward, doesn't it? Our whole lives we hear go big or go home, commit to these massive, inspiring goals. But the real secret to building habits that actually stick, it lies in this totally counterintuitive idea. The most powerful commitment you can possibly make is to the smallest, most laughably easy action imaginable. See, mastering the art of starting, that's the whole game. And today, you're going to learn the rules. So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by digging into what's called the crisis of starting, the real science behind procrastination. Then we'll lay out the 2-minute rule framework, which is the specific solution. After that, we'll get into the cool part, the neuroscience of why this little trick works so darn well. Then we'll get super practical with a 3-step launch system you can use right away. And we'll wrap it all up by talking about the core philosophy behind this, the simple, powerful habit of just showing up.
Okay, first things first, let's reframe the problem. Procrastination is not a moral failing. It's not a character flaw. It's not a sign that you're lazy. It is a biological response. It's a defense mechanism. And getting this is the absolute first step to beating it. You're not lazy. Your brain is just running a very old, very powerful security program that was designed for survival.
The scientific name for this feeling of resistance is activation energy. Think of it like the insane amount of thrust a rocket needs just to get off the launch pad, to defy gravity. When you think about a big goal, like I'm gonna run 3 miles, your brain instantly calculates all the effort involved and just throws up this huge wall of friction. It's that heavy, sinking feeling, that dread that makes you suddenly decide that alphabetizing your spice rack is the most important thing you could be doing right now. That feeling is activation energy. It's your brain protecting you from a big, uncertain effort. Now, what's really happening here is a battle inside your own head. Your rational brain, that modern prefrontal cortex, sets a perfectly logical goal. Hey, a 30-minute workout would be great for my health. But your emotional brain, the ancient limbic system, it couldn't care less about your long-term goals. Its only job is to save energy and avoid discomfort and failure right now. It's the part that kept our ancestors alive. So it sees 30-minute workout and just registers it as a threat, a huge waste of energy with some far-off reward. And so it just slams on the brakes, veto. And suddenly, you're back on the couch scrolling through your phone.
So here's the big takeaway from this section. Your struggle to start is not a willpower problem. It's a predictable neurological conflict. You are having a brain-based crisis of starting. And you can't win this fight by just trying to push through with brute force. That's like trying to argue with a smoke detector. You have to use a smarter strategy. You have to shut off the alarm before it even has a chance to go off. And that brings us to the solution, the 2-minute rule. It isn't just some clever trick. It's a precision tool designed specifically to bypass that emotional veto and solve this crisis of starting. This is the smarter strategy we're talking about. So let's break down exactly how it works. The whole framework rests on 3 key ideas. First, we have what I call the Scalpel of Simplification, ruthlessly breaking the habit down to its tiniest possible piece. Second is the habit identity lock, using that tiny action to reinforce who you want to become. And third is entry point mastery, focusing all your energy on mastering the art of just beginning. The entire system hinges on this one number, 120 seconds. This is the heart of the whole thing. You have to relentlessly, brutally break down any habit you want to build into a tiny, tiny piece that takes less than 2 minutes to do. Not 5 minutes, not just a quick 10, 120 seconds.
And this is not some random number. It's a strategic dose. It's an amount of time so small, so non-threatening, that your brain's internal alarm system doesn't even notice it. It doesn't register as a cost.
Let's look at how these three pieces work together. First, simplification. This means your goal is not to write a chapter or have a great workout. Your goal is simply to launch, to start. Performance doesn't matter at all at this stage. Second, identity. Every time you do your 2-minute action, you're casting a vote for a new identity. Putting on your running shoes doesn't just get you ready to run, it sends a powerful signal to your brain. I am the kind of person who is consistent. I'm a runner. And that identity is way more powerful than any goal. And finally, mastery. By mastering the start, you create this psychological momentum that just pulls you into the rest of the habit. It actually becomes easier to keep going than it was to start.
Okay, so we've covered the what. Now let's get into the why. Why is this simple little rule so incredibly effective? Well, the answer is in how it systematically hacks 3 key functions of our brain. This isn't just about feeling good, it's about literally rewiring your brain for automatic success. The first and most important mechanism is what we call the limbic bypass. Remember that emotional brain, the limbic system, that acts like a gatekeeper? Well, a 120-second commitment, like just opening your journal, is so small, so insignificant, that it flies completely under the radar. It doesn't trigger the threat response. It doesn't set off the procrastination alarm. You basically sneak right past the guard dog, and that paralyzing feeling of anxiety, it just never shows up. Second, this rule creates an immediate, powerful reward loop. See, anytime you complete a task, no matter how tiny, your brain gives you a little hit of dopamine. That's the neurotransmitter for motivation and pleasure. So completing your 2-minute task gives you an instant small win. Your brain gets a tiny reward, not for running a marathon, but for the simple act of starting. And this brilliant little feedback loop makes you crave that feeling of starting again tomorrow. You are literally training your brain to love showing up. And third, it saves your most precious resource, your mental energy. Your willpower, or what scientists call executive function, is like a phone battery that drains all day long. And that internal debate, should I do it? For how long? Am I too tired? It just drains that battery before you've even started. The 2-minute rule gets rid of the debate. The decision is made, you just do the 2 minutes. This saves all that precious mental energy for the actual task, instead of wasting it on the negotiation. All right, we've covered the theory, we've covered the science, now it's time to make this real. This is your 3-step, totally frictionless launch system. This is how you take any goal right now and apply this rule to guarantee you actually start. These 3 steps are dead simple, and they are absolutely non-negotiable for this to work. Number 1, scale down your goal to its absolute undeniable entry point, the 2-minute version. Number 2, anchor that tiny action to an existing, reliable habit you already do every single day. We call this habit stocking. And number 3, forget about the big goal for now and focus only on mastering the launch with 100% consistency. This table shows you exactly how it works. Look at these examples. Your goal is to journal for 10 minutes. Your 2-minute start is just open the journal, write the date. Then you anchor it. After I pour my morning coffee, I'll open my journal. Boom, it's linked. Want to read 20 pages? Your start is to read 1 page, anchored to after I get into bed. Go for a run becomes put on my running shoes the second you change out of your work clothes. And meditate for 15 minutes becomes sit down and take 3 deep breaths right after you shut down your computer. Do you feel how the resistance just melts away? I really want to pause here because this is the most important mindset shift you have to make. For the first few weeks, the goal is not to do the habit. The goal is to master starting it. Your objective is not to go for a run. Your objective is to hit a 100% success rate on putting on your running shoes. That's it. If you put them on, take them right off, and sit on the couch, you still win for the day. You've successfully cast that vote for your new identity. You have mastered the launch. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole thing. We've talked tactics, we've talked neuroscience, but underneath it all is a really powerful philosophy. This isn't just about tricking your brain. It's about adopting a new, more compassionate, and way more effective approach to changing your life. This is the ultimate takeaway right here. The only habit you really need to master is the habit of showing up. Everything else will follow. We let the sheer size of our goals paralyze us. The 2-minute rule frees you from that. It shifts your focus completely. Stop worrying about the finish line. Just focus on winning the first 120 seconds. If you can win those first 2 minutes, day in and day out, You will be blown away by how often that momentum just carries you the rest of the way. So let's wrap this all up. We started with a problem, right? That feeling of being stuck, of being overwhelmed by our own ambitions. Well, the 2-minute rule is the system that's designed to take out the two biggest enemies of our progress, that anxiety you feel before starting and the fact that our willpower just runs out. It is a reliable, repeatable method to guarantee you launch any new behavior you want to build into your life. So why does all this matter? Well, the 2-minute rule solves the problem of initiation anxiety and willpower depletion, giving you a systematic way to guarantee the launch of any new habit. By using this framework of simplification and habit stacking, you're essentially hacking your own psychology. It works because it bypasses your brain's emotional veto. It works because it generates its own sustainable momentum through tiny, consistent wins. And ultimately, this just reminds us that real productivity isn't about doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless. So I'll leave you with this one question. The theory is over. The explanation is done. The only thing left now is action. So pick one thing, one habit you've been putting off. Scale it down to its absolute entry point. What will you launch in the next 120 seconds?